This Jewish gentleman named Yaakov Langer taking a page out of Penn and Teller's book. Remember Penn and Teller's show on Showtime?
Which campuses get attacked and...
sorry, Mike Gallagher trying
right?
to take over our show. Penn and Teller's show on Showtime, Bull Blank, where one of the features they would circulate petitions to highlight, frankly, how stupid people are.
Yes.
Ignorant, I guess is a better word. Like they circulated a petition to end women's suffrage, and the number of women who signed it, because they didn't know what suffrage meant, they thought it sounds like suffering. And the great exchange was one woman could you sign this petition to end women's suffrage? And it's like, and then the guy starts to explain. So women's suffrage. She's like, yeah. I know what it is. Give me the pen. Okay. This Jewish gentleman, I mentioned Yaakov Langer, taking a page out of that book, circulating a petition to get people to sign on the dotted line to support Hamas in its effort to free Palestine. Take a listen.
Doing a quick petition to help Hamas free Palestine. You're all in? All right. Oh, yeah, you're in?
Easily.
I just have to read terms and conditions just so you know what you're signing.
Okay.
By supporting Hamas freeing Palestine, you agree to the following. You agree that every Jew, Christian, and non-Muslim in the world must be slaughtered.
I don't know about that one.
You endorse making homosexuality punishable by jail or death.
Oh, no, I don't.
You don't agree with that? You believe Iran should use Palestinians as puppets to spread radical jihad and destroy the West? No?
No.
I'm glad I read the terms and agreements. You support strict Sharia law, which bans women from showing their knees, hair, playing sports in public, not being able to travel without a man's permission.
I'm sorry.
Not interested? Oh, okay. You want a terrorist group that beheads babies and rapes girls to replace only democracy in the Middle East?
Not sure that's something to support.
So if I sign, I agree with this.
Yes.
Maybe no.
No? Okay.
Well, no, thank you.
No.
I don't support any of these two things that you just read to me, so then I won't be able to sign this then.
That's fair. Yeah, thanks for not signing. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, you got to read the terms and conditions,
Right.
Which are statements that are part of Hamas's coda. That's what he was reading.
Right,
with
and
the
all
exception of
these
the last one.
LGBTQ plus pro-Palestinian, they're out there with the regular group. Do they know? Do they have any clue what they do to people who are gay or lesbian or transitioning?
The question becomes in part, yes, we can easily establish how little people know in these moments, but that doesn't make them not dangerous. For more on this, please be joined by Will Reilly, who is Associate Professor poli-sci, Kentucky State University, author of Hate Crime Hoax, How the Left is Selling a Fake Race War. Will, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Always good to be on the line with you guys.
Yeah, good to have you. So, was Black Lives Matter popular? I mean, you're Kentucky State historically black college. Was Black Lives Matter popular on campus?
I think in the kind of the genuine peaceful protest sense, yeah. I mean, people had BLM T-shirts and that kind of thing. Kentucky State is, an HBCU and a land-grant university in the South, and our largest majors are actually things like criminal justice and nursing. So, I mean, there was never, a huge radical movement. No buildings got burned down or anything. But, I mean, yeah, I suppose. And again, you get into that question of what does something mean as versus what do people think it does. Everyone opposes actual police brutality, but I don't think too many people went to the actual BLM website and saw things like take the black man out of the house.
Yeah, right. This is sort of the point is like what they actually know or what they would say in response to the statements that have been made from BLM chapters around the country. I didn't know they had any money left. The resistance must not be condemned, but understood as a desperate act of self-defense. That was in L.A. That was BLM in L.A. After the October 7th terrorist attack. As a radical black organization, we see clear parallels between black and Palestinian people. Of course, BLM in Chicago tweeted that image of the Hamas paraglider with the Palestinian flag with the caption, "I stand with Palestine." This is recounted in Jason Reilly's piece in the Wall Street Journal, in which he says that no one should be surprised that BLM is standing with Hamas. And so I'm not surprised either, but do you think that that leads any reconsideration of support for BLM in this context?
I would say that BLM is no longer cool among students, and I think among most adult taxpayers. I mean, by now everyone knows what went on and assumes that a lot of the organization, if you think about Sean King or Patrice Cullors or Colin Kaepernick, was just financial fraud, frankly. The thing with BLM is that there always was an element of this kind of thing. Like, most people who are laymen who don't consult in politics, so on, when they think about Black Lives Matter, would think of it as an organization against police brutality or maybe street crime, although they very rarely uttered the words black on black. But if you actually, as I did for my book Taboo, check out the Black Lives Matter website and talk to their leadership and this kind of thing, you'll find something very different. I mean, Black Lives Matter was established by 3 radical gay women, and most of their focus throughout the campaign was on Black queer rights, was how it would often be phrased, dismantling the nuclear family. Most of the money raised by Black Lives Matter, when Spiked magazine looked at this, I was one of the writers on the piece, was actually given to groups like the Transgender Project. I mean, none of this had much of anything to do with, let's buy body cameras for the cops. And now, I mean, yeah, one of the core principles of the movement was always solidarity with Palestine. I'm not making that up. That's, again, one of like 10 things
Yes,
on the
right.
No, we played it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
why?
So, I mean,
But this
yeah,
is this is my point. This is my point: is what people don't know about Black Lives Matter, what people don't know about Hamas. But it doesn't. Your ignorance doesn't absolve you. We focus so much on the groups, the actors in the group, like this, ghastly Hamad mouthpiece who has just said recently. Basically, October 7th, again and again and again until Israel is no more. I mean, just in case there was any recriminations, there's none. They're not even attempting recriminations, but it's still they still get propaganda on their behalf from university professors and university students and the DC Press Corps and the other cultural mavens, so many of the other cultural mavens in this country. And I just feel, I mean, we were talking a little bit earlier in the show about Hannah Arendt's description of the banality of evil. I think, as much as we focus on people with names and titles, there needs to be a little bit more direct confrontation with the hoi polloi, because as I said, your ignorance doesn't absolve you, and it's dangerous, actually.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is the idea in political science of the useful idiot, right? Like the majority of movements are made up of maybe 5 or 6% passionate resistance fighters. That's actually an old rule for guerrilla warfare, how many people you need to take over a population. And the rest are just people that sort of like the idea, that like the flag, even when you think of the Symbionese Liberation Army or even the libertarian rattlesnake flag. They're just going along. They don't know everything the movement adheres to or supports. And I guess I would agree. Yeah, we should punish those people more. Like if the movement you're backing actually wants to dismantle black families or wants to kill and rape Jewish women, if you just say things like resistance is great, when someone points out what you've been supporting, yeah, you need to be very aware of that, very apologetic about that, so on down the line. I think another deeper point here, though, is that when actual leftist radicals say what they think, just as with neo-Nazis and all that, we should believe them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like a term that's consistently come up through all of this Free Palestine stuff is decolonization, land reclamation. What people mean when they say decolonize is take back X amount of land from all the people that weren't there originally. And in the United States, I mean, this would be everyone who's not Native American Indian, whites, middle-class black community. I don't see any reason Caucasian, Hispanics would be spared. So a lot of these things that we've gotten used to hearing Asians kind of conventionally are crazy radical ideas. And people need to start recognizing that. Like this is stuff that's as extreme as anything on the furthest reaches of the right. But we've spent the past couple of decades just mainstreaming it on college campuses. Complete clowns like Ibram Kendi will say, well, we need a department of anti-racism that can wreck any business at will. And people will just nod along and sort of think of this almost in mascot terms. Like, he doesn't mean that. when you see people waving Hamas flags, it might be a good time to recognize, no, they meant all that stuff. They really don't like Jews by this point on the campus.
Right. When you have people saying, I mean, right, they are explicitly saying kill, and and the response is they don't mean that. You wrote a piece on Thomas Sowell, who was the person you most want to meet. I agree with you. I'm in the same camp. But I just go back. I keep going back to this Thomas Sowell interview with Peter Robinson on the occasion of promoting his latest book, Social Justice Fallacies, where he was asked straight away if the social justice warriors, sort of writ large, got everything they wanted, what would be happening in America. And Thomas Sowell said succinctly, we'd be killing each other. And I think it's closer than the threat is closer than people appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that throughout the past 150 years, I don't know how close it is in America, but I mean, throughout the past 150 years, we've seen a lot of violent left-wing revolutions and a few violent right-wing revolutions as well. They were almost all pretty unexpected. They almost all took place within a span of about 10 years. You know, the Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution, the Nazis, who are the National Socialist Party, as the saying goes, so on down the line. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen here, but it's important to realize that the major ideas on the far left are worse than the major ideas on the most extreme right. Like, the actual idea of decolonization would involve killing really large numbers of people. Like getting to total equity, which means equal representation of every ethnic group and both sexes across everything. Like, that would require taking tens of trillions of dollars in wealth from different people, from the rich, from white, so on down the line. So actually trying that stuff, reparations, very possibly could provoke a war. Like, how would Mexican Americans react to some of that? So I think as regular taxpayers, we have to look at this and not just smile and say, oh, those college kids again. You have to think, no, these are pretty serious ideas. Like, these organizations issuing these pro-Hamas statements are at Harvard. It's the 34 leading student organizations at Harvard. What's going to happen when they get out of Harvard? What do Harvard grads usually end up doing?
Yeah, I mean, Julius Malema, we've talked about him on the show before. I mean, he's leading a stadium full of people in South Africa, Marxist party head in South Africa, chanting, kill the whitey, kill the farmer. Julius Malema would be welcomed, paid to speak at every Ivy League school, at Northwestern, at Stanford, every elite school, just about, if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, the song, kill the boer, kill the farmer, it's almost catchy, actually. But yeah, I mean, so the South African Radical Party, their song is an old song from South Africa's race wars called Kill the Boer, and it means exactly what you think it does. It means kill the white guy with a gun on the other side of the battlements. And it's been adopted as a party song. And the reason that you're mentioning this, and the reason this is notable, is that people keep saying this doesn't matter. Like, it's some kind of edgy black metaphor that people aren't getting. Like, what kill the Boer actually means is resistance against a white-dominated state. And it's like, well, no, the black guys won the war. Like, they're in charge. It's been a black-led country for 25 years. No, they're just saying kill the white people. So I think that there's a lot of this kind of intentional delusion. When you listen to mainstream liberals talking about the left, and you hear these crazy comments like, no, Hamas wouldn't rape anyone. Like, I do think there's a lot of intentional, necessary delusion. Like, it's important that we believe this. Otherwise, we might recognize who our allies are. And we've seen this stateside, not just to mock the South Africans. I mean, the Sydney University rally in support of Palestine, the chant was gas the Jews.
Right.
So, I mean, like, you could hear it with, like, an upper-class Aussie accent 50 times. And this was not a majority Arab rally in Australia. This was white, some black. I mean, they were just chanting gas the Jews. It was unbelievable to watch. But when 50,000 people say gas the Jews or kill the whites or hang the blacks or whatever, it's a good idea to assume, oh, they mean what they're saying. And to pay some attention to that as opposed to focusing on grandmothers who walked around outside the Capitol on January 6th or, you know, any of the other things, the eco-terrorists, the stuff that we're being told are the threats to our society, I suspect are less dangerous than the gas the Jews crowd of 50,000.
Yeah, I'd stipulate to that. Will Reilly, Associate Professor of Poli-Sci at Kentucky State University, author of Hate Crime Hoax, How the Left is Selling a Fake Race War, as well as Taboo, he just mentioned. Will, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Glad to be on.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
In the heart of Bedford Falls, one man faced incredible challenges in his business journey. George Bailey, a humble banker, knew that success often comes hand in hand with adversity. But George wasn't alone in his struggle. He discovered the power of resilience, innovation, friends, and community. Like George, your business may face obstacles, financial setbacks, fierce competition, IT nightmares, or unforeseen crises. But remember, it's not about the challenges you face. It's about how you overcome them. At Turnkey, we understand the George Bailey spirit. We're here to provide you with the solutions, guidance, and support you need to conquer your business and IT challenges. Whether you're a small-town bank, distributor, manufacturer, or a cutting-edge startup, we believe